We're live.
Hello, folks. It's a Podsquad with Wendy Card, Kathy Morrison, Colleen Roberts, and me, Rob Jones. Turn my paper over here. Thanks for joining us for New Bern's podcast, September 24th, 2020, episode 158.
All right. Today, we're going to talk about people and places and happenings in and beyond New Bern. And we're glad to have you with us. We have a great lineup of guests, and we hope you join in the conversation.
And some guests that we didn't get to talk to last week, so we're all looking forward to that. First, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on. And as always, we have to introduce our contest. So to be entered to win, make sure you comment during today's show on New Bern Now's Facebook page. And then we hope lots of correct answers will come in. Your name's going to be entered into a drawing to win a prize. And Wendy typically announces the winner on the show if it comes in during our show. If not, she'll announce later tonight and you'll get to go pick up a prize at Carolina Creations. So Wendy, what's the contest question for today?
Okay, what U.S. president drove an amphicar? Rob knows.
Rob knows. Look at that. Look at that.
Rob knows everything.
No, I do not. Thank you for the credit, but
We're just joking. But you are a wise man. So.
Wasn't I know it bounce?
Yes. Yep. That was the I know it bounce.
yeah, the happy dance.
Yep.
I missed it. It went over my head.
So how is everyone? I feel like I have to ask Kathy about Gingerbread because she just sent me some information for City 3 TV and I can't believe it's already
we're
time.
Here we are looking, anticipating Ghost Walk, and we're all talking about gingerbread. We do have it pinned down because it was a while we weren't sure how we were going to do it. We are going to do a virtual gingerbread house contest this year instead of downtown in the stores, and we expect we'll be back next year when everything gets back on an even keel. But we really want you to enjoy the part of gingerbread that's the real fun part. It's the making the house and enjoying the company of the people that you make the house with, whether it's your family, your friends, whoever is helping you do it. So we don't want that to go away. So we're going to have a virtual event.
And you're still doing the class too, right?
We're still doing the class. The virtual event there's no forms to fill out. There's no fees involved. Make your gingerbread house or your creation, whatever shape or form it is in. Take a picture of the house. Take a picture of the house along with the people that built it, whether it's just you or whether it's your whole family or whether it's all your buddies. And send that in to us at gingerbreadnewbern@gmail.com. And then we will put them on Facebook. There'll be two prizes. One will be selected by judges and one will be selected by the public. So it'll be a people's choice again. So online, the people's choice, your like will be your vote. So we'll get that all set up. We need December the 12th. We need all the pictures. But yes, we still want you to feel comfortable in building a gingerbread house. And if you've not tried it before, yes, we're going to do the class. Craven Community College is hosting the class. We'll be on November the 14th, a Saturday, 10 a.m. Yes, we're gonna have all of the COVID precautions. So there will be fewer people in the class. It will be on the tiered classroom, so there will be space between people. We'll ask folks if they can to wear a mask. We will watch how we hand people things. So there you will be, and it's intro to gingerbread house construction. So the emphasis being on how do you make it so it stands up? So you need a good recipe for the royal icing and a good recipe for the gingerbread so that they're going to stay together and hold on to all the stuff that you put on it when you have a good time decorating it all up. So that'll be the class. You can sign up for the class on the Craven Community College site. It's cravencc.edu/AEP because it's Adult Enrichment Program. So yeah, we're doing gingerbread. Gingerbread contest is virtual and the class is real. So that's where we are with gingerbread.
Fantastic.
Did you say the class was free?
Real.
Oh,
No, it's
real.
It's $18 for the class.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No, but it's, it really is a good background. I had never made a gingerbread house before, and I took this class the first time we did it, and it led me right through the things I needed to know, even things like be sure you sand down the edges before you put the thing together so that it's together squarely. Cut it with a really sharp knife. An X-Acto knife is good. All those good things that you need to know that are just detailed that you just learn by trial and error if somebody doesn't tell you. So it was, it's a good basic background. It's a demo class, but we do have an exercise involved in the class this year involving gluing stuff together with the royal icing. So you get to play with the bag of the royal icing.
Sounds like fun.
Is it just me or is Kathy a little stuck when she starts talking?
Do I freeze?
Yeah, you're freezing up a little bit.
Okay, I don't see it, but that's okay.
You can hear her just
She's
fine.
awfully
That's
still.
right. But we can hear
There
you.
she is.
That's right.
Freeze.
Rob Jones, what kind of mash you working on there, buddy?
I just worked on one. I call it the Swedish hot date.
Ooh.
Yes. I use a Swedish yeast. I put chipotle peppers in it along with Middle Eastern dates. So
Wow.
Swedish hot dates. It's a great beer. If you don't like spicy, it's not for you, but it's a really, really cool beer.
Is it kind of smoky with the chipotle?
It is. So it's not so spicy like a cayenne pepper. It is where it's that earthy, fruity, flavor along with a little bit of smoke, and then you get the sweetness of a date come through. It's pretty unique. I ought to get you guys some of it.
And a kick at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. As it finishes, you get a little bit of residual, heat from that pepper. But the beer business right now, and the beer world and the brewing world is really hot right now. So it's a good time to be a brewer. The bar is not so much due to COVID-19, but in the brewing industry, it's moving along pretty good. So
And you checked out some breweries when you were in Alaska.
we did. They are doing some really unique stuff up there in Alaska. You think about they're the 49th state. They're brewing a beer that I haven't heard of, brewing it out of spruce tips, which every spring spruce trees, a particular genus of tree grows, and they put out these little spruce tips and foragers collect them. And they're making beer out of it. Oh my goodness. I was doing research on that spruce tip beer, and come to find out there are maybe some roots here in Eastern Carolina with our colonials coming in. They didn't have access to certain hops or certain flavors, so they used spruce tips and acorns and pumpkins. Not making a pumpkin pie beer like a latte or what we're used to at Starbucks, but using actual gourds. So it was a cool trip to go to Alaska, but we went there just exploring, and they're using a lot of cool, unique stuff up there. It's cool.
What was the weather like?
Clear. They're starting the rainy season, so it seemed like it would mist, not heavy rain, but starting to mist down in the valley in Anchorage where we were, and down towards Homer and Seward. Temperature was about 55 during the day, mid 30s at night, but you can look up at the mountaintops and you can see the snow just starting, up in the upper elevations. But it was a good time to go because it wasn't too cold, wasn't too hot, and the fall was full in order. So all the leaves were changing. It was just a great time to be there.
Awesome.
Well, good for you too, and I'm glad you enjoyed some safe travels.
Absolutely.
We know Rob Jones as Eastern North Carolina's most popular beer guy, and also best beard guy, whatever that title was. Yeah.
Best beard in brewing.
beard and brewing. That's right. But we would be remiss if we didn't ask you about the palace, because you are sitting in a very wonderful place in New Bern. And if you hear the sounds of wildlife, well, that's all Rob's fault too. So tell us where you are and what we're hearing.
Right now, I'm in the middle of our Pepsi Family Center, or Pepsi Portal to History. Unfortunately, during Hurricane Florence, it was damaged. It took me about 18 months to bring it back online. Just as soon as we launch, about mid-February, open it to the public, beginning of March, COVID starts hitting and we start shutting down. So unfortunately, our community and school groups haven't experienced the Pepsi Family Center. But once we open in phase 3, we'll be fully operational again. Hopefully we get our guidance and directives and we'll be able to open fully. But y'all got to come in here and check this place out. But Tryon Palace has been busy. We're doing a scaled down version of All Hallows Eve. So check our Facebook page for the young ones or the young at heart. Come in here, dress up in your costume. There'll be prizes. It's going to be a little different because of course, COVID. So we're going to keep everybody safe and but still try to have a good time. We are moving forward with our Candlelight Celebration. Which is awesome, but we're going to do it in a little different format this year, of course, because of COVID. So what I'm afraid of is people coming back saying, well, that wasn't a real candlelight like we had experienced. Well,
right.
Come on, it is COVID-19. We have to keep our staff safe and, our general public safe with interaction and keeping the groups down. And so we'll have a couple protocols, but it's still going to be a fun time to be had. Pay attention to our website, tryonpalace.org, or our social media pages on Facebook and Instagram for more information on what's going on. But our grounds are open. The first floor of the palace is open right now. And the history and the actual North Carolina History Center is open as well. When it comes to like the Regional History Museum, our Guyan Gallery is open, Orientation Film is open. So right now the Pepsi Family Center is offline, but there's still plenty to do here. So come on back, support us.
And what are those noises in the background?
That's a barred owl that Kathy was able to say earlier. Hey, that's a barred owl. It's part of our forest exhibit where we talk about distillation of turpentine, not the other type of distillation, but where our guests can come in here and learn how to make turpentine, which in the 1700s, 1800s was a major staple of the North Carolina economy, was shipbuilding. So they used the loblolly pine and the longleaf pine for making pitch and turpentine for ships. So it was a huge part of our industry, the naval stores was.
Very
Wendy,
cool.
you were going to ask something.
I was. What about the Fall Heritage Plant Sale?
That's coming up.
October 9th and 10th? Is that right?
Absolutely. Come on in, check it out. You can get in free to the garden sale with your garden's ticket pass. Come on in, get to check it out, take home some good plants. Not only do you get good local plants, but you're also helping support our foundation. And without the support of our foundation, like many other organizations, without support of your main base, these COVID-19 times would be even tougher. So come out, celebrate your local businesses, your local foundations. If you got anything extra, throw it towards your favorite foundation so they can survive.
Yes.
Fantastic. Wendy Card, what's going on in your world?
I live a very boring life, but I went yesterday. I went and turned in my absentee ballot. I handed it to the folks at the Craven County Board of Elections, and I can't thank them enough for all that they're doing to educate and process these ballots. And I really appreciate Melanie Ray and her team for all that they do. So
They
that's
hustle.
all I got. Yes.
They hustle when it comes to election time.
And they're looking for volunteers, aren't they? Like poll workers when it comes, the election time, aren't they? Craven County Board of Elections, I think I read something, they're looking for volunteers, because I know as a state employee like I am, they send a mass email to all state employees. We have community service leave. hook up with your local board of elections department and, volunteer, and you can use those hours. So,
well, we spoke with Melanie, was it last week, Kathy?
Yes.
Yeah, and I asked her that if she needed any more volunteers or employees, and she said they were covered, which I was shocked because I had heard the same thing. So they've really got things locked down and working tirelessly. So
She said, especially not Rob Jones.
I talk too much. I get it. Instead of letting people vote, I sit there and talk. It's okay. My therapist said it's unhealthy to be you. So I'm always going to be me.
My goodness. Well, I'm sure everybody has probably already seen it on social media, but the Alfred Cunningham Bridge downtown is changing its operation schedule to the delight of many. So yeah, and we have been working on this for this many years to get the schedule changed. And so we city staff are super ecstatic because it's been, such a long time coming, but I know New Bern at large and also our visitors who come to our city are probably just as excited as we are. But so the changes take effect Friday, October 16th, just in time for the weekend. And it used to be 2 years ago, and even now, really the bridge opens at will. So several times a day. And the Board of Aldermen 2 years ago created and adopted a resolution to change that operation schedule. And so what is effective in October is the bridge is going to open on the hour and the half hour between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. Except for 7:30 to 8:30 and 4:30 to 6 Monday through Friday. Now that will likely change during holidays, but at least that's the way it stands right now. And it shall open on signal from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. One of the popular questions was, okay, so it's going to open on the hour and half hour, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Well, what if nobody's there waiting? You have to radio in and then the bridge will open. So if you're a mariner and you're trying to get up the Trent River and need the bridge to be raised, you will have to call in to the tower to get by. So lots of folks excited about that. We had to work with NCDOT. Thank you so much for your support and for pushing this forward for us. Ultimately, it had to be public noticed and reviewed by the U.S. Coast Guard Admiral. So that certainly took a while, but we're super excited that eventually that'll be changing, and hopefully it'll be more conducive, not just to boaters, but motorists and bicyclists and pedestrians and all that good stuff. We don't want the bridge to be a barrier to folks coming to New Bern, whether you're on the water or you are on land. So,
yeah, and I want to commend you guys on the city because I know you guys have had a lot of complaints, and the river is such a draw to New Bern that there has to be that fine balance between, the river life and somebody trying to get home. But inevitably, my bad luck is I would hit it at 4 o'clock and I'd hit it at 4:30, and maybe it was just my bad luck, but it seemed like I'd hit it 3 or 4 times a day. And I know not everybody's in that boat, but I know there's a fine balance working with the mariners and, the city traffic. It has to be a nightmare. So congratulations pulling that off.
Well, thank you. And you're right. And it always seems like when you're in a hurry, you're in a time crunch, then you get stuck by the bridge.
Well, maybe you're getting stuck by the bridge because something's telling you that you just need to take a breath, look at the river, take in the views, and just be thankful that you're not sitting in DC traffic for 4 hours. So
that is certainly one of the benefits, particularly if you're one of the first few cars, and you get a really nice view of the river, and you're like, I lucked out this time.
So Colleen's going to coordinate with that sailboat that needs to come through and say, okay, I need you to come through at 5 o'clock. Because I want an extra 15 minutes for that meeting that I
have. And then one more thing, if we can announce on behalf of the city, and then we'll move to our guests, I guess. But the North Carolina Clean Water Management Trust Fund we just learned on Monday this week, awarded the city an innovative stormwater project grant for $100,000. Thank you so much.
Wow. Woo-hoo.
So we are going to use this in Duffy Field, as you all know, an area with very low elevation, close proximity to the river, and very susceptible to flooding and physical damage from severe weather events. And so we started a stormwater enhancement project out there in mid-August, and it will enlarge the stormwater retention pond out there. It will enhance the pump station attached to the pond and also give it a standby generator. So we can't totally eliminate flooding from happening, but we can reduce it. We can move it out quicker when it does happen. So that is part of the project. $175,000 is the total cost of the project, and I look at this as a success. The Clean Water Management Trust Fund told us that they had so many applicants for innovative stormwater projects. They wanted to be able to give out more money, so they capped all of the awards to no more than $100,000 so that they could continue spreading the love to communities in North Carolina, which I think is a definite plus. So certainly looking forward to moving ahead with that project. We have other stormwater ideas for this project, but those will be kind of dependent on our budget and also additional grant monies that we're trying to go after. So there may be more announcements in the future that will go along with this innovative stormwater project in Duffy Field, but we're off to a good start.
All right. Colleen, that's awesome. And I do have a question about stormwater or drainage. I have a big a retention pond in front of my house, and it looks like the grate that is in front of the drain has a bunch of debris, and I'm not sure if it's clogged up, but does the city deal with that, or do I contact my HOA?
If you're in city limits, I would certainly contact the city. We have a stormwater division within Public Works that can certainly help, but we are always looking for those public partners, particularly during hurricane season. We ask folks, please, if you live near a storm drain, your neighbors, maybe get a volunteer group together, just make sure those are nice and clear, so that if something does happen, we all work together to try and get those storm waters out of here as quickly as we can. But if it's significantly built up or you fear that it's clogged, like you said, I would call Public Works 639-7501
Right.
and get the stormwater division on it. They're awesome.
Yes, they are. All the city workers are doing an amazing job. That includes you, Colleen.
Well,
Your wealth of information.
yes.
I call Colleen quite frequently with some crazy questions, and I'm sure I'm not the only one.
And I'm still working on that other question that we talked about earlier this week. I'm still working on that for you. So hopefully I'll have it for you soon.
And no problem. Thank you.
So let's see. Do you want to do social media minute, or are we going to invite some folks in?
Sure. I forgot my glasses. Can you see the Facebook page?
Let me go to it real quick.
Yeah, I should have that on hand. Let's give the question real quick. If you missed it, the contest question is, what U.S. president drove an Amphicar? That's AMPHICAR. So guess in the comments, and Colleen.
And so we have Megan Johnson from Craven Community College. She says, I hope you saw Kathy this morning on her first podcast of the day, In the Know. She was wonderful as always and talked about the intro to gingerbread construction class, which she talked about a minute ago too on this podcast.
We had a great time there this morning.
I missed it. We have to learn more about In the Know. So is that a college thing?
It's New Bern Live. It's Charles and the college collaborating.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, check it out, folks. Another great podcast in town. So
yeah, I think the college calls it In the Know. Usually Craig, Ramey, Chelsea, Megan, and a few guests on it. It's called In the Know, but they are partnering with Charles Tyndale at the Tyndale Studios. Great partnership, and it's awesome information out there for what's going on at Craven Community College.
all right. That's great. And we have, you want to bring Brenda in? Brenda
Sure.
George?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Brenda George is a candidate for Superior Court judge.
Mhm.
So she is going to join us shortly.
All
Here
right.
she is. Can you hear us, Brenda?
There you are. Magic.
It worked.
She is. Hey, Brenda.
Yay.
Hello, everybody.
I see
Okay.
you all the time on the side of the road with your new sign up.
I haven't gotten used to that yet.
So how's it going? How are you?
It's going well. Things are going really well. I'm getting pretty busy, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been interesting.
Well, good. And you look very patriotic with your shirt that you have on today and the American flag behind you, and reminds us that election day is on the way and it's our duty to go out and vote.
Right. It is our patriotic duty to do that. And I hope everybody will get out and vote, or at least mail in your ballots, whatever form you want to express your citizenship. It's a great thing, great opportunity.
So introduce us to you and your platform as a judge.
Well, my name is Brenda George. I'm running for a Superior Court judge in District 3B. I am give a little bit about my background. I was born in Robertson County near Maxton, North Carolina. That's where both my parents are from. My father was a Methodist minister, so we moved around quite a lot when I was young. I started school in Raleigh in the first, second grade, and then we moved to Selma in Johnston County. And I stayed in Selma for many years, and then we moved to Oxford. So I graduated from high school there, went to college at Shaw University in Raleigh, where I graduated with a BA degree in speech communication. After graduation from college, I went to Salt Lake City for a couple of years. I had a teaching fellowship at the University of Utah in the Department of Speech Communication. When I returned to Raleigh, I worked for a few years with the Wake County Department of Social Services, where I was an eligibility specialist. So that meant I interviewed people, talk about their family circumstances, and try to provide minimum assistance for them. After a few years doing that, I decided that there must be a different way to have an impact on people's lives in a positive way. So I decided to apply to law school at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So I was admitted. I studied there for 3 years and I passed the bar. And my first job out of law school was with legal services. I spent a year in Asheville, and then I came to New Bern. And I was with the Pamlico Sound Legal Services for about 6 years. And then I had an opportunity to go and work for the legislature in Raleigh. And that wasn't an opportunity I didn't want to pass up. So I moved to Raleigh. My parents were living there, so it was a good situation for me. At the legislature, I was staff attorney in the research division. My primary role was to provide legal advice to committees of the legislature, and I was hired especially to do judiciary committees, which is where most of the legislation dealing with the courts and criminal law were heard. I also, I worked in the area of criminal law and justice for 27 years. I was primarily responsible, I had a lot of responsibilities with the development of our state's sentencing structure. I also had the opportunity to work on alcoholic beverage control. So that was a little more interesting, and it had a lot of more impact than people think because of the issues related to everybody wanted alcohol, but nobody wanted to vote for it, I guess, it was a social issue that took a lot of time and creativity so that they could get what they wanted without creating a lot of disturbance. And that was one of the things that we did learn to do at the legislature was to work around issues. It was an exciting place to be for 27 years. It was never dull. It was a lot of challenges. I had to work with people on both sides of the political aisle, so I didn't have a lot of personal opinions get in the way of that. And I think that's one of the strengths that I bring to the race for judge, because I have a long history of being nonpartisan and fair and impartial. And that is the premise that our court system rests on, is the fair and impartial justice to all citizens. So that's who I am in a nutshell. I am not a politician, so getting used to being in a political contest has been a challenge, but it's one that I've gotten a lot of help from my husband, Bernard George, who's a New Bern native. His roots go back in New Bern more than 400 years. So with his encouragement and support, I've gotten into this. And then the community, all people of all walks of life have gotten involved in the campaign, and we're moving forward.
Well, good for you. So what is your favorite thing about New Bern?
Well, I'd have to say it's the water. When I lived in New Bern before, I lived down on Front Street, and it was right across the street from a Holiday Inn, if anybody remembers that. So, and I remember the old Bridgeton Bridge. So many years later, when I came back and saw the broad expansive bridges, and they just seem to enhance the water, and you can really see that it's a town between two rivers. My friends who come here to visit have been very taken with New Bern. It's a beautiful place, has wonderful people, and it's a great place to live. I've been living here now for about 5 years, and the only thing I regret was that I was gone so long.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome home. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast today. Anybody else have other questions for us?
I just want to make a comment. Brenda, I am so sorry we couldn't get you on last week, and that was during the Constitution Week, and you were a participant or presenter for Constitution Day, was it?
Yeah, we were celebrating Constitution Day because, you know, the Constitution is the bedrock of our legal system. And I had an opportunity to talk with local author Linda Monk, who's written a couple of books on the Constitution and one on the Bill of Rights. So we had a great discussion, and it was also particularly meaningful because we happened to be online together at the time we learned of Justice Ginsburg's death. And we had a moment of silence in recognition of her great legacy and her service to the people of this country. So having that day and that experience was excellent.
I just want to say, and full disclosure, I'm working on Brenda's committee to help her out. But just in listening to what she says about her background, it just seems that everything she has done along the way has laid platform for what she's aspiring to do next.
Yeah, that's definitely how I feel about it. I got into this race late. An opportunity opened up. There was a sitting Superior Court judge who retired, and the seat, there was a vacancy created, and both parties were asked to provide candidates, nominate someone to be on the ballot. And I had a friend who called and asked me if I knew anybody who wanted to run, and I told him I'd think about it, and he said, "How about you?" And then I thought about it more, and I realized that my background had led me just to such a time as this, because I believe that, you know, the perception that courts are unfair seems to be growing within our society, and I just think that I needed to stand up and make this run. So that's why I did it.
Ms.
Good
George,
for you.
how do people find more about you or about your campaign?
I have a website that's bgeorgeforjudge.com. I also have a Facebook page. The Facebook page and has a telephone number, and I'd be happy to provide anybody any information that they would want and answer any questions anybody has. We are developing and putting on the Facebook page and the website some short video clips that would give people more information about the campaign. So we are in this COVID age, we're very much relying on digital campaigning and hoping that people will spread the word and talk with others as they learn about our campaign.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm so glad we finally got it together today. So.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed watching your show, and I've learned a lot from it. I learned a lot from listening to Melody Ray last week. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Woohoo!
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
Miss Brenda.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.
All right. Boy, she has no lack of education or knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, she and expresses herself well with that.
Yes.
Just such a strong background.
And
Yes.
it's almost refreshing to hear somebody that comes into it with a side of compassion, where she's been on, kind of both sides of, with legal services. And if you don't know what they do, I suggest that you research what they do. You see people with, lack of means, because she's right. Everybody has an equal opportunity to a fair justice system. And I think hopefully, that's what judges are supposed to do, is to balance, right and wrong and judge fairly, without any type of biasness. We need more of that nowadays, definitely.
Yes.
We sure do.
No doubt. And we have Peter Azzole. Do you want to bring Pete in, or do you?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
On your mark. Get set.
Set. Here comes Pete.
We are.
So Pete is the author of Assignment.
There he is.
Yay.
Hey, Pete. There he is. Hey,
Hello.
Pete.
Hey, Pete. Thank you.
How are you doing? Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Podsquad, and welcome to fall. Feels like fall outside.
It's working great today. It didn't work so good last week, but
Yeah.
Here we
well,
are today.
I'm glad.
I
Thank
have-
you for your patience.
Oh, look at Kathy.
We have Assignment Panamon right here. There
hey,
he
this
is.
one,
A match set. Look at that. Two of them.
Wait, hold on.
there's the back of it.
Okay, I'll do the front, you do the back. There you go.
Why isn't it showing it? Let's
Okay.
That's
try
my
it again.
number 5 in the series.
Okay,
And
that's what I was going to ask. This is the fifth one.
fifth one, sixth one is under development right now.
Wow. So
Crank
this is
them
not
out
your
about
first rodeo.
every 9 months to a year, I get another one out.
Wow.
Following the same character, the same intelligence
major-
officer.
Yes, the same major characters are throughout the thing. So it's if you don't pick up with number 1 and work your way through, then you lose track of some of the subtleties in their personalities and their experiences. But I've got quite a fan group going, and I had well over 100 pre-orders on number 5 there that just came out. So
Tell us about the character.
character, the major character is right now he's a captain in the Navy. He's a cryptologist. The cryptologist in the Navy is a person who studies communications of potential enemies. And, they're code breakers and they're analysts of communications in every aspect. And he finds himself in an assignment in the London Embassy. And from there, he pushes off into places like jumping into occupied Norway, occupied France. He goes to Casablanca, meets the president and the prime minister, Churchill. And in this latest one, he has an opportunity to go to Sweden and operate out of there, and winds up getting captured by the Germans. And it's a book of it's not an action book like a lot of war novels are, where it's, you know, a lot of hair, teeth, and eyeballs in every page. It's honest. It's just the normal routine of an intelligence analyst in World War II. And so in between the periods of boredom, there is periods of terror. He sometimes is in the right place at the right time, and sometimes he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I've just gotten, let me see, I had some, Goodreads.com is the place where I get most of my reviews. And I don't know why that is, except maybe people can filter their searches better than they can on Amazon. And Amazon pushes a lot at you. If you go in and ask for something, you get a lot. And I think in Goodreads.com, if they go in and say World War II historical fiction, they get World War II historical fiction. And so I think that's why they're there. And since I've started with Amazon, I've gotten 948 ratings out of there. And the
Wow.
all-time average is 4.15. The last one has one text review, 30 ratings, 4.4 average out of 5. And that's
Very nice.
that's since it was published on August the 14th.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So at any rate, I'm having fun with it. And I used to work for the Board of Elections, and I was writing and working for them at the same time. And I've got them through 2018 and said, I'm going to go work all for myself now.
I really like the combination of the adventure and the history together, and pulling in the pieces of history and the characters from history.
Good point. What I do is I take incidents in history in World War II in the European theater, and I push my character into that setting. And I've started with Norway, the third one. I started putting images that were period images into the chapters to help people formulate the setting and the image of the time.
Hey, Pete, where can we find your books locally? Are they local or are they online only?
No, as a matter of fact, I'm glad you asked. The next chapter, Books and Art, has signed copies available for you in all issues. They're available on Amazon. I know that Books A Million carries the hard copies. Let's see who else. Well, any of the major online bookstores carry the hard copies, but the Kindle and the Kindle Unlimited, as well as the hard copies, are available on Amazon. I have a website. It's www.pjazzoleauthor.com. And there's information on all the books and some videos there on, about the series and on the last one.
Where is he going next?
He's going next. Well, you know what D-Day is. He's going to Normandy.
Oh, okay.
Or will be involved with Normandy in some way, shape, or form. It'll be, hopefully, as exciting as any of them have been.
Great.
Right. And Pete, can you hold up your book again?
I can.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Pete, what's your background that you are into this?
Well, as I joined the Navy when I was a junior in high school. And shortly after my test battery was completed, I got called aside and said, we want to make you a communications technician. Well, I didn't know what that was, and they couldn't explain to me what that was. And they told me they couldn't tell me what that was until I completed school. So as a result of that, I got into cryptology. And as an enlisted man, as a warrant officer, and as a commissioned officer, I was a cryptology specialist throughout the 20 years of active duty. So I'm taking my background and experience and applying it to the World War II setting. So I have to back the technology up in order to do that. And of course, it takes about a lot of research to get the periods of time and the technology present at the time. So,
Wendy, did
fun.
I cut off your question about the picture?
No, but I do have one more question for Pete.
Sure.
Were you ever stationed at RAF Edsel in Scotland?
No, I never made it to Edsel. Closest I got to Europe was the Azores. When we had what was called the dream sheet, when you got to about,
Yeah.
I filled out when I was in the Azores, I had Italy, I had Scotland, I had England, I had Spain. They sent me to Hawaii.
Yeah, the place you don't want to go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was stationed with a lot of the CT folks over in Scotland. It was just, it's a very hard job that you all have. And
it's, the tough part about cryptology is it's a backroom function, and there's a lot of analysis and routine things that you do that are not thanked and not published. And so making a book out of a cryptology specialist is a difficult thing to do. And so if I talked about what we normally do through the course of time, it would be a boring book, but I had to get creative.
Hey, Pete, so basically cryptology, if you watched, the recent World War II series or a movie on Midway where they were heavy on cryptologists breaking that Japanese code. So without your service or, your fellow servicemen and women in cryptology, World War II could have went completely the opposite direction.
Well, it would have certainly in Japan. In the Japanese theater, in the Pacific theater, because the Midway incident really decimated their carrier forces and their air forces. So that would have been a much different scene in the Pacific theater. In the European theater, I think Eisenhower said he felt like the function of cryptology, both in terms of the British and the Americans, the war was probably shortened by at least 2 years.
Wow.
And that's a lot of lives saved right there.
Yes, it is.
It's important. The goal is to tell the commanders what the enemy is thinking and what they're planning to do and exactly what they're going to do and what forces they're going to bring to the field. And if you can't do that, well, it's tough. It's a tougher game. But it's what beat the Desert Fox, and it's what beat the Japanese, and it's what beat Hitler.
Yep. Well, thank you for your service. And Pete, I have not read the book yet, but I plan on reading it. It's on my list of things to do. But
Assignment to Enhancement. Yeah.
There you go. And thank you so much for joining.
Yes, thanks, Pete.
You're welcome. Take it easy.
Have a great day. Woohoo!
All right.
Okay. Where are we at here?
I don't know if that story gets told enough, about, what, you hear about war stories and, how the American forces, but not individual job duties or individual job, what, somebody did behind the scenes, like that cryptologist. A lot of people probably don't even know what they did. So that's an important story to tell.
And I think that's what makes history fun, is when you get to hear those first person stories. And
yeah, it's that a CT was a thankless job when I was in Scotland, because they had a little satellite office up in Thurso at the very tip of the Scotland, and it was brutal weather, and they were working 12 hours on, 12 hours off, 12 hours. It's a hard job, but it's vital to our intelligence. So
And they're still doing that job today, even though
Yep.
it's no longer, wavelength based like they were back then through Telegram or through, Morse code or anything like that. But now we have, the whole cybersecurity on the internet, and, the, U.S. forces and forces worldwide are always trying to crack, those internet signals coming in, because you never know when we're going to, have to respond to an incident. And, they're still at work behind the scenes.
They're still
Yeah.
collecting the pieces of information, and you don't know when one little piece is going to connect to something else that you found and make the right chain.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, we're gonna try for Jim Hackett.
He's not, he must have got caught up with
Okay.
something, but he was supposed to join, he was going to be joining us at 1:15. So
Okay.
hopefully we'll have him next week. But, do we want to talk about the invitation to NC candidates?
Yeah.
Yes, so the Pod Squad invites North Carolina candidates running for public office, whom Craven County voters, residents will be able to vote for in November. We invite you to join us for a short conversation. We would like for you to talk about your platform so voters can virtually meet you and find out why you are seeking election, or in some cases, re-election. So if you're running for office and you'd like to join us on the podcast, send an email to info@newbernnow.com, or you can call Wendy at 252-259-6853. So we look forward to having more candidates on between now and election day. We really don't have a lot of time left.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking, I've gotten a couple calls, and just to let everyone know, I don't care what political affiliation you are. It's just to give you an idea of who is running and who you want to vote for. So you'll be educated, and we welcome everyone. So,
And
what
no
else?
bashing your opponent. We just want to know about you and your platform, and, keep it positive. Some people may have no idea who you are or what you stand for. So we want to get to know you as much as we can.
And
Yes.
it's super important to educate yourselves as a voter. You're right. It's our American duty and responsibility to vote, but you gotta vote with education, or with a clear mindset of knowing who you're voting for. Don't just pick a box, and that name sounds cool, and you got to educate yourself on what the candidates are, because if you don't vote, you have zero right to complain. So if you're not part of the process and you don't educate yourself, you have nobody to complain to but yourself.
I totally agree.
True.
Yeah.
Absolutely true, Mr. Eastern North Carolina beer man.
Is that beer man or beard man?
Well, it's both. I should say
Bearded man.
beer and beard man.
I was actually contemplating cutting it once, and somebody said, no, don't do it. And I'm like, I am more than just a beard. And they're like, yeah, but don't shave it. Don't cut it.
Yeah, don't. We love it. We're huge fans on the Pod Squad.
I'll get rid of it when Dawn says it's time for the beard to go. And I'll say, okay. Dawn is my bride of 20 years, and without her I would be lost, and I'll do whatever she asks me to do. So if I come home now and she says, look, you got to cut it off, yes ma'am. So, but I don't know if that's going to happen. She kind of likes the beard, so.
You're a good man, Rob Jones.
That's right. I saw a friend of mine who's been working from home since COVID, and probably hadn't seen him in maybe not quite 6 months, but and he had a beard, and I'd never seen him with a beard, and I was like, what is that on your face? Oh, but anyway, we love the red beard, so keep it, Rob.
It's getting grayer and grayer, more and more white.
It looks whiter, I think, than the last time I saw you, but I wasn't going to say anything.
Well, I'm 45, and I do not run away from my age. It's going to happen. No Botox for me, no hair dye, because they don't make red colored hair dye anyway. So I'd look real weird with a brown, mustache. So
yes. Yes, you would.
Yeah, you're gonna end up with my hair because I was bright red
Yeah.
up until I was probably 33, and then the white
Yeah.
hair started coming in. So
Well, a lot of people think, like my hair's turning gray. No, redheads don't go gray. We turn white.
right.
So that's the reason why I say Santa Claus must have been a redhead, because the beard is just as white. So my wife says when it gets more and more white, she's gonna pimp me out as Santa Claus.
There you go.
I'll be the real deal.
Think of all the seasonal
Cassandra
beers, and
Crowder-
you could be the poster boy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Looking forward.
Cassandra Crowder is watching with us today. So hi, Cassandra.
Hi.
For tuning in.
Yeah, thank you.
And you want to go through our contest question?
Yes, okay. Anybody answering out there? Okay, first we'll give you the question. What US president drove an amphicar?
And the amphicar is the one that can go on land or on water.
Anybody?
And to give a hint, there is somebody local that has one and can be seen in the summertime riding that boat around town.
Yes.
I did not know that. Wow.
I thought that's why, one of the reasons maybe why you included that as a question. Yes, there is one in New Bern.
I won't mention his name, but he is a predominant retired doctor. I think he just retired a couple years ago, but
Well,
Really?
I don't think he has it anymore. It is
No?
now under new ownership. Yes, with another gentleman in New Bern. I won't say his name.
Is it Kevin?
No, it is not.
Well, that's a cool fact. We're going to have to hunt this person down and get him on here to talk about his amphicar.
Yes. I'll reach out to him, see if he wants to come on.
nice.
So, who? Any guesses? Podsquad?
Rob Jones.
I mean, I can say it if you want me to.
Oh,
Yeah.
let me guess, and I'll say Eisenhower.
No. Sorry.
Go Rob.
The president, any president.
Lyndon Baines Johnson.
There you go.
Further forward in history.
Well, and
Yay. Good job, Rob.
the reason why I knew that is because that predominant doctor, there was an article 4 or 5 years ago in the Sun Journal that had him driving the car with his wife. And in the article was talking about the famous president who was known to drive it at Camp David, drive it around as his, and it would not be unusual for President Johnson to be seen fishing from that, car. So it was that article that brought me to, one, the local doctor, number two, the president that used to drive it.
Well, that's interesting. Well, it was the first time I heard of it when I was just looking for a crazy question to ask. And it says, according to the National Park Service, President Johnson enjoyed surprising unsuspecting guests when taking them for a ride in the amphicar. It was built in Germany from 61 to 68, and the amphicar is the only civilian amphibious passenger automobile ever to be mass produced, with a total number of 3,878 vehicles. So if there's one in New Bern, I mean, that's
Pretty rare.
Yeah, so that's cool.
So what I meant to ask you, Wendy, what's Laura been cooking?
I've been doing most of the grilling. I was cooking. I made salmon cakes. I tell you that last time. Yeah, I cut up. I removed the skin and chopped them up and put panko. I don't even know what that is, but I used it as like breading with an egg, and they are the best. I love, like, crab is my probably favorite, and lobster, but it's the best burger I think I've ever had. So
Wow, very
Yeah.
nice.
yeah, what is
There you
panko? Does
I haven't
anybody
eaten lunch either.
Japanese breadcrumbs.
Really? Yeah, because it's like it's looks like it's fried after it's been on the grill, so it must be the oils from the salmon and the Japanese breadcrumbs. Who knows? It's really good. So I kind of have an extra pep in my step. So I'm thinking maybe it's because of my change of diet. Who knows?
Did Laura send you a joke?
She did. Are you ready for a joke?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Let me get the one button ready. Okay. What did one shark say to the other while eating a clownfish?
Oh,
It's going to be bad, I can tell you.
this one tastes funny.
What'd you say?
I said, this one tastes funny. It's a clown.
You got it. Good job, Kathy.
Oh,
Kathy, you smarty pants.
Wow.
it's just, so ancient. I remembered it. God.
Really? I did. I hadn't heard it before, but I never get Laura's jokes. I think I've gotten 2 in the last 17 or 18 years. It's just, that's funny. Good job, Kathy.
Don't feel bad. I tell jokes to my kids all the time, and they look at me like, Dad, that was stupid. And I'm over there rolling, and they're like, it's not even funny. And I'm like, yes, it is.
Well, see, stupid is important these days because, we have to be able to laugh at ourselves and laugh with others, not at others, but with each other and just, try to be happy. I know it's really hard for so many people that are struggling, but it really will help with the sanity, at least unless I'm losing my mind where I keep bursting out in laughter every couple hours.
I've heard people say, quit trying to be happy and just be happy.
Yes.
Quit trying to, seek things to make you happy and quit trying to make others happy. Just let it happen. Let the negativity go. Let the grudges go. Let the remorse go. The woulda, shoulda, couldas, and just live, and you'll find that inner peace and that happiness will present itself. And once you find it, don't let it go. There are more people out there in the world trying to keep you down or keep us down. Just ignore those people and just be you.
That is so true.
Take those steps to improve your happiness. Like get off of social media, turn off the TV, self-improve too. And I think you'll find your happiness goes along with it.
It was so cool that when my wife and I, we had the honor, and I say the honor and the blessing to be able to go to Alaska, we unplugged. We would only post our Facebook photos when we got back to the Airbnb, but while we were in the moment, we were there. We weren't worried about taking a photo and going live to show people, we did it occasionally, but primarily we were just trying to be us and be happy. And it's actually freeing, like you said, unplug from social media and quit listening to the garbage and just be in the moment.
Very, very good advice.
Very true.
I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Kathy?
No, I didn't speak. Wendy did.
Was that you, Wendy?
I just said it's very true. So, yeah.
Absolutely very true.
Colleen, doesn't the city of New Bern have another movie coming up?
They do. And I'm going to have to look up which one it is real quick.
Moana.
That's right. And yes, we were talking, I think it was 2 weeks ago, maybe I was giving out some dates for the different movies that were coming up in the park. Moana is definitely going to be a great one, especially with fall. You can kind of let your tailgate down or put your hatch up and have a little blanket and pillows and, bring all the kids because that's such a great movie. Moana.
It's a good movie.
So, Wendy's about that time.
I think, yes, it is.
If you'd like to be a guest on the Podsquad or with the Podsquad, or if you have any questions maybe, or suggestions for us, you can certainly call at 252-259-6853. You can also send those comments or suggestions or questions via email if you want to at info@newbernnow.com. And join us. I can't believe next week is already going to be October. So October 1st from 1 to 2 p.m., we're going to be on Zoom all over again, going live for New Bern Now's podcast. It'll also be on our Facebook page. The video and audio are also uploaded to the website, which is newbernnow.com. And then if you want to listen anywhere that you find podcasts, you will find New Bern Now. So if you like YouTube, iTunes, wherever else you get your downloads, you'll find the New Bern Now podcast. And you can also listen to the show on New Bern's News Talk Radio, WNOS. That is 103.9 FM. Tune in every Wednesday because they are so kind to play our show at 8 o'clock in the morning and also 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a wrap, folks. Oh, I got to get the music. Hold on one second.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and have a great day. Cue the music.
There we are. There it is.
There we go. Bye, everybody. Have a good
Bye-bye.
day.
Thanks. Have a great day.
We'll see
Woo!
All right.
I'm trying to end it. Bye, Rob.